Imagine a world where the books you love reading didn't exist. No Harry Potter, no Percy Jackson, no Hunger Games. It sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? But this was the reality for people living in the Middle Ages. Books were rare, expensive, and often locked away in monasteries or the homes of the wealthy. Only a select few could read, and those who could were often priests or scholars. The world of books was a tightly controlled and mysterious place, filled with secrets and hidden knowledge. But then, a revolution happened. The invention of the printing press changed everything, and it all started with a single man named Johannes Gutenberg. Before Gutenberg, books were hand-copied by scribes. This was a slow and laborious process. A single book could take months or even years to complete. Each page had to be carefully written and illustrated, and the cost was astronomical. As a result, books were incredibly rare and valuable. They were often chained to desks or shelves in libraries to prevent them from being stolen. The idea of owning a personal book was practically unheard of. The content of these books was also limited. Most of them were religious texts, law books, or scholarly works. There was little room for creativity or personal expression. But then, in the 1440s, Gutenberg invented the printing press. This was a game changer. Instead of writing each page by hand, Gutenberg's press could print multiple pages at once. This made the process of creating books much faster and cheaper. Suddenly, books could be produced in large quantities, and they became more accessible to the general public. This was the beginning of a new era in human history. The impact of the printing press was far-reaching. It democratized knowledge. People who had never been able to read before suddenly had access to books. This led to a surge in literacy rates. More people could read and more people wanted to read. The demand for books grew, and printers started producing a wider variety of content. Novels, poetry, and scientific works began to appear. The world of literature exploded with new ideas and perspectives. But the printing press did more than just make books more available. It also changed the way books were made. Before the printing press, books didn't have title pages. To find out what a book was about, you had to flip through the pages and read it. This was time-consuming and often frustrating. The first printed books also didn't have numbered pages or indexes. These features were introduced later, and they made books much more user-friendly. The title page, for example, became a full-page advertisement for the author and the book. It included the author's name, the title of the work, and other important details like the publisher and the date of publication. This was a significant change because it gave authors the credit they deserved. They were no longer just writers, but were recognized as individuals with unique voices and ideas. The title page also announced a new commercial age in publishing. Publishers could now advertise where readers could buy the book, and the date of publication helped make novelty a desired commodity. Another important innovation was the introduction of numbered pages. This might seem like a small thing, but it made a huge difference. Before numbered pages, it was difficult to refer to specific parts of a book. Scholars and readers had to rely on memory or guesswork. With numbered pages, it became much easier to find specific passages or verify quotes. This made books more useful and appealing to a wider audience. Indexes were another game-changing feature. Before the printing press, indexes were rare and difficult to use. They required a lot of effort to create and were often inaccurate. But with the introduction of numbered pages, indexes became much more practical. They allowed readers to quickly find specific topics or keywords within a book. This was especially useful for large, complex works. By the end of the 18th century, indexes were a standard feature in most books, and readers came to expect them. The printing press also had a profound impact on education. With more books available, universities and schools could provide a wider range of materials to their students. This led to the growth of university libraries. Before the printing press, most libraries were small and private. They belonged to wealthy individuals or institutions like monasteries. But as more books became available, libraries grew in size and scope. They became public spaces where anyone could come to read and learn. One of the most significant changes brought about by the printing press was the rise of the modern author. Before the printing press, the concept of an individual author was not well defined. Books were often attributed to the scribe who copied them or to a famous figure whose name lent the book credibility. But with the printing press, authors began to be recognized for their unique contributions. They were given credit for their work, and their names appeared on the title pages of their books. This encouraged authors to be more creative and to strive for originality. They could now be rewarded for their unique ideas and perspectives. The printing press also had a significant impact on the way books were organized and stored. Before the printing press, books were often laid flat on shelves or desks. This was because they were so valuable that they needed to be kept secure. But as books became more numerous, they started to be stood up on shelves. This made it easier to see the titles and authors, and it allowed more books to be stored in a smaller space. Libraries began to be designed with long rows of shelves, making it easier for readers to browse and find the books they wanted. The growth of libraries also led to the development of new methods for organizing and cataloging books. Librarians like Gabriel Naudé and Leibniz created comprehensive cataloging systems that made it easier for readers to find what they were looking for. Libraries became centers of learning and knowledge, and they played a crucial role in the spread of ideas. But the printing press wasn't just about making books more accessible. It also had a profound impact on society and politics. The ability to print and distribute books on a large scale made it easier to spread new ideas and challenge existing power structures. Governments and religious authorities were no longer the only ones who could control what people read. This led to a surge in political and religious movements. For example, the Protestant Reformation was fueled in part by the widespread distribution of Martin Luther's writings. The printing press allowed his ideas to spread quickly and reach a large audience. The printing press also played a crucial role in the scientific revolution. Scientists could now publish their findings and share them with a wider audience. This led to a rapid exchange of ideas and a faster pace of scientific discovery. The works of Galileo, Newton, and others were widely read and discussed, leading to a new era of scientific inquiry. In the 19th century, the impact of the printing press continued to grow. The rise of literacy and the demand for books led to the development of new forms of literature. Novels, newspapers, and magazines became popular, and the publishing industry grew rapidly. The first public libraries were established, making books available to everyone, not just the wealthy. This was a significant step towards democratizing knowledge and education. One of the most important figures in the development of public libraries was Sir Anthony Panizzi. Panizzi was a passionate advocate for equal access to knowledge. He believed that everyone, regardless of their social status, should have the same opportunities to learn and read. As the principal librarian of the British Museum, he worked tirelessly to improve the library and make it more accessible to the public. He introduced new cataloging systems, expanded the collection, and made the library a more welcoming and user-friendly space. But Panizzi's efforts were not without controversy. Some people, like the writer Thomas Carlyle, were unhappy with the idea of a public library. They believed that access to books should be limited to the elite. Carlyle even went so far as to create his own private library, the London Library, which was only accessible to a select group of subscribers. Despite this, the idea of a public library continued to gain support, and by the end of the 19th century, public libraries were becoming a common feature in many cities and towns. Today, the legacy of the printing press is everywhere. We take for granted the vast array of books, newspapers, and magazines that are available to us. We can access information on almost any topic, and we can do it quickly and easily. The printing press laid the foundation for the modern world of information and communication. It made knowledge accessible to everyone, and it changed the way we think, learn, and communicate. But the story of the printing press is not just about the past. It continues to shape our world today. The digital revolution is the latest chapter in this story. Just as the printing press made books more accessible, the internet has made information more accessible than ever before. We can now access books, articles, and other resources from anywhere in the world, and we can do it instantly. The internet has also democratized the creation and distribution of information. Anyone can publish a book, write a blog, or create a website. This has led to a new era of creativity and innovation. In conclusion, the invention of the printing press was a turning point in human history. It changed the way we create, distribute, and access information. It democratized knowledge, encouraged creativity, and helped shape the modern world. The legacy of the printing press continues to influence our lives today, and it serves as a reminder of the power of innovation and the importance of making knowledge accessible to all. So, the next time you pick up a book or read an article online, remember that you are part of a long and fascinating history that began with a single man and his revolutionary invention.